tendencies, you would never function properly. You know what kind of person God is? Let me tell you how God is. I can wake up in the morning, very excited, bright morning, just wake up, have a shower, put on a suit, and I'm going to a party. I want to go and see a friend. And I get into the car, drive all the way, and I'm looking for a parking space. And I park the car, come out from there, and I'm going upstairs. The party is started, and I already promised this friend I'm coming. And then you climb upstairs, you take the lift, and you come out of the lift, and you go and stand at the door. And just about when you're about to do the knock, knock, God says, what are you doing here? But God, I was coming for a party, I was invited. He says, a party? He will act like he did not know it. That is how God is. And that's why sometimes, if you're someone who walks with God and you want to do some things at times, you need to stop back. Even when God says it's okay, sometimes it might not really be okay. It's because you've made up your mind to do it. That's why He lets you do it. It doesn't mean He approves of it. Anyone who walks with God will know that sometimes you really want to do something. You don't. God tells you, don't do this. You say, no, I really want to do it because you've made up your mind. He just allows you. That's what is called permissive will of God. The permissive will of God, just like He did with Balaam. Balaam says, you see some man, a king comes and tells Balaam to come and curse the children of Israel. Balaam is a prophet of God. He says, no, he doesn't want to go and do well. He says, let him go and ask God. And he goes to God, and God asked him in the night. In fact, actually, God came and asked Balaam in the night and said, Balaam, what are these men doing in your house? As though he didn't know. Balaam said, well, God actually came to ask me if I can come and curse the children of Israel. And then Balaam says they also brought gifts. And God says, don't receive any gifts from these men and don't go with them. Balaam walks back to God and say, to the man and say, well, you see, I'm sorry, I can't go with you because God has just free, so I shouldn't go with you. And the men keep on persisting. They go back to the king and report to the king what happened. The king sends the men back to come and ask Balaam again. They come back the next day and meet Balaam and say, Balaam, you see, the king still says you should come and curse the children of Israel. Balaam said, okay, give me a minute, I'll go and ask God. You see, that's the problem. God had told him no. You're still going back to God again with the same prayer request. Balaam goes back to God and says, God, these guys should come again. They said I should follow them and go and curse the children of Israel. And then God says, tell them you will not go. Balaam comes, he's grumbling. God said, I should not go. Do you know the problem? Balaam's mind was in those rewards. He knew he's going to get a cash gift. He knew he's going to get benefits. And so his mind was set on those gifts. So even when he was talking to God, his mind was doing, but God, I really want to go. The third time, God tells him, okay, Balaam, you know what? Wake up and go. Balaam said, yay! God has finally changed his mind. Balaam wakes up, picks up his donkey, and is going. Just when Balaam is in between where he was supposed to stop, the Bible says the donkey stopped and refused to move. And Balaam says, what's wrong with you? He picks up a stick and beats the donkey. If it were in the UK, it was animal abuse. That's the police for you. He beats up the donkey, and the donkey stops. Asks Balaam, why he beats me? And Balaam says, why you refuse to move? If I were Balaam, I would say, hey, you're talking. How is that possible? Balaam didn't. He completely ignored it. But the Bible says the donkey had seen an angel. And then the angel of God told Balaam and said, why are you beating the donkey? Do you know I could have killed you and spared the donkey? And the angel said, go, but don't curse. You know what? That was God's permissive will. God was saying, go ahead, but it was not in his mind to do so. And I can tell you, 98% of people on this earth are living in God's permissive will. The thing God has not permitted them to do. They get married and then they start praying for a good husband after the marriage. When they make the decision, they choose for themselves something that God did not approve of it. You also have Jacob in the Bible. God's original intention was for him to marry Leah. But he saw Rachel and said, oh, she's fair. And that's the one he wants to marry. And he got married to her. She died earlier. Sometimes you might see someone who looks very attractive, but God knows that person doesn't have a good lifespan. He's not going to live long. God tells, don't marry her. Don't marry him. Oh no, God, he's got six-pack. He's handsome, he's cute. But God knows he doesn't have quality. you choose that one because that's the one that looks flashy. Meanwhile, the one that doesn't look, according to early standards, doesn't look attractive, that's the one that has an original lifespan. The Nokia phones are the strongest. They can fall down and turn, but they are quite rugged. Meanwhile, your iPhone that is posh, just a little drop, the screen is cracked. And yet it's very expensive. Amen. So today I'm going to teach you something very quickly. And the message was taken from Mina. That was our very first message she taught many years ago, about 5 years ago. And I had a conversation about it to God. Can I have my pad? I know she might probably have forgotten about the message now because it's over 5 years. The title of it is, How Much Are You Worth? Or in other words, what is your worth? How much are you worth? Ask your neighbor. Say, how much are you worth? How much is your worth? What is your worth? How much are you worth? How much do you cost? How much can I buy you? Your worth speaks of your dignity or what you are, your quality. The reason why you pay so much for an iPhone is not because it was founded by Steve Jobs. The reason why you pay so much for Samsung is not because it was created by Long or whatever it is. It's because of its worth. When you go to the market, the difference between a cheap product and an expensive product is in its worth. Now the problem is, many of you don't know your worth. You don't know the quality and the kind of person you are. And as a result of that, you give yourself to anything. You sell yourself for anything. The Bible talks about Esau. The Bible says that God said, Esau have I hated and Jacob have I loved. Many people don't know why that scripture is so. It's because Esau sold his birthright because he did not know his worth. The Bible says one day he came back from the field, he was so hungry, and he looked at his brother and said, I'm dying, I need to eat something. The Bible says that Jacob said, if I give you a plate of food, will you sell me your birthright? And Esau said, what good will my birthright do to me knowing I'm dying, I'm hungry? The Bible says he despised his birthright. In other words, he despised his worth. Do you know why a girl would get up in the night and stand in the street and allow men to pick her up? Because she does not know her worth. Do you know why you go to school and allow people to influence you carelessly? Because you don't know your worth. Do you know why you go and you're begging people for money? Because you don't know your worth. Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver because Judas did not know his worth. The brothers of Joseph in the Bible sold Joseph for a similar amount because he did not know his worth. And yet Joseph was the one who saved the entire Egypt. So just imagine the wealth that Joseph produced later on. That was his worth. You cannot measure a person by the money. Those of you that think that school is what makes you become successful in life, that's a deception. Because the richest people in the world are not necessarily those who have degrees. Think of Steve Jobs. Think of Elon Musk. These are not people who have degrees. Think of even Donald Trump. He didn't have degrees. And yet they make impact. Why? Because they have something the average man does not have. And that is worth. So by the end of today, I want to change your mentality. I want you to change the way you see yourself. I want you to start seeing yourself as an expensive person, as not a commoner. It's not everyone who really deserves to be at the same level with you. Unfortunately, there are some of you who think very poorly. You think everyone has to be at the same level. Absolutely not. It's never been that way. I'm going to come to that later on. But I just want to go straight to the point. There are 5 fundamental principles or 5 things everyone needs in order to discover your self-worth or to be worth somebody or to be worth something in life. Number 1, believe in yourself. If you must be someone who is worth somebody, you need to believe in yourself. In fact, your worth is another form of saying your name. Everything you do in life is to end up having a name. The Bible says in Philippians chapter 2, it says, and let this man be in you which is Christ, who being the Son of God, thought it not robbery to be equal to God, but made himself no reputation, humble himself, and blah, 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 and all that. And God highly exalted him and gave him a name which is above every other name. That in the name of Jesus. So God gave Jesus not power, not anointing, but he gave him a name. When he called the name Donald Trump, the name immediately tells you what it is, a billionaire. When you talk of Elon Musk, the first thing that comes to mind is Tesla, billionaire. Why? They made a name. The question now is to you, what name are you making for yourself? If your name is called, what is the first thing that comes to people's mind? Is it trouble? Or is it a blessing? We talk about Abraham in the Bible, he made a name. We talk about Jacob, he made a name. We talk about, in fact, all of these people in the Bible had a name, they made a name. When you die, there are two things that you remembered for. Either the troubles you caused or the problems you solved. What names are you building? In school, when your name is mentioned, is it brought up under trouble? Or your name is brought up under good blessings and good name? What kind of name are you building? Ask your neighbor, so what name are you building? So the first thing is believe in yourself. Many of you, especially teenagers, have this attitude of self-pity. I just failed an exam. Oh no, I don't think I can ever be a doctor anymore. You need someone to come and keep pitying you. I'm sorry, you're gonna make it. This world has no time for pity parties. Because the world is so busy with its own trouble, it doesn't have time for you. There's no time to keep on standing there to say, hey, don't cry, and then you feel like that. No! The attitude of a successful person is when he falls down, he gets up and beats himself again. Last time you had 4 A stars, you wake up and say, no, I'm not going to have 4 A stars. The best preacher to you is yourself. The best preacher to you is yourself. Nobody is going to run behind you with a cane and keep saying, oh, wake up and read. Oh, stop being sorrowful. You know, you put your picture on Instagram and nobody has clicked a like. You just become upset. Oh, no one likes me. No one thinks I'm beautiful. You become depressed. The next option you start doing is like Googling how to kill yourself. A girl went on Instagram, I think it's last week, she just put life or death. Vote. Yeah. And people voted. In the first few hours, they voted about 69% of people voted death. She went and killed herself. At the end of the next day, the vote had gone up to 89% leave. She died before people had changed. You see the problem? Because she was living her life based on the opinion of others. Many of you don't believe on yourself. You depend on people's approval. When you dress and you're going out, you need someone to tell you, oh, your dress looks beautiful. You need someone to tell, oh, you're very intense. You depend on people's approval so much. You will never make it if you carry on like that. Believe in yourself. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it. Whatever God has blessed you to do, do it. If you're skilled with clothing, design your clothes. Bring up your ideas. But you know what you think? Oh, no, I'm not good enough. My dress cannot be as nice as this one. No. Believe in yourself. Amen. Number 2, stop being a beggar. Jesus said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. It means it is not even good to receive. Do you know why some people are always poor and always be poor? They love to beg. Africans especially, I'm talking to you. You've had a reputation of being beggars. You beg a lot. The name hustler fits so well with you because you built that reputation over the years. Always begging. You rarely call maybe a relative home, or you hardly visit Africa without somebody coming around to say, hey, what did you bring for me? We are beggars. We are beggars. The mindset of a champion is in someone who gives than to keep begging. Especially those of you who love to borrow. The Bible says, thou shalt not borrow. You love to borrow. You're begging. You're on benefits. You're begging. You don't know that. You're begging. God did not create people. I don't know where to go. Listen. I know, especially in the modern society, we've tried to class people by races. We believe the white man is above the black man, or the black man is above the this or the this or the this or the. God did not create people. In fact, the word race does not feature in the Bible even once. The word race. I was talking to Toby this morning, asking her where whites and blacks came from, and she said God created them like that. God created them whites and then it came from. Okay, let me ask you. Who am I going to trap today? Who made whites? Tell me. Who made whites? She doesn't know the answer. Who made whites? Who made whites? Don't feel. Who made whites?
It's to do with their surroundings. No, because where you're from, so like they're from the colder regions.
So you who was born in the UK, how comes to...
No.
Uncle, how that makes sense? We might
Okay, I've heard it. What of you? Where do whites come from? Where do Asians come from? God made all of them. Okay, how many of us agree God made them that way? Well, so when God made the black, He came and made the whites, right? Answer my question. How did God make the whites? Yes?
I never said God. I said.
What do you say?
I said, Uncle, that when Esau was born, he was born red and heavy,
Okay.
which is a
so white and red. All right, that's
no,
fine.
Uncle, wait.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to break that racism theology that people have produced over the years. Who else? Ambrose, tell me, where do whites come from? Or where do the different races? How comes you have different races? Black, white, Asians, and all that. Come on.
Is it because of like the conditions?
What?
The conditions.
Conditions, okay. All right. Stanley, tell me, where do whites and different races come from? Okay, from God. Okay, yeah?
He made the titles white and black. God made the people, you don't separate them into different categories.
No, but we know that the white is white, the black is white. The color, everything is different, whatever, we know. All right. I want to explain something here. In God's eyes, there is no such thing as black or white. These things came about as we human beings created it so. There is no such thing as black and white. And God is so careful when He's creating people to avoid any tendency for a man to look down on another man because of his color. The Bible rarely even references people based on their color. That's why today it's difficult for people to tell whether Jesus was black or white. And I'm sorry to say Jesus wasn't even white. Jesus was not a white. Forget about the pictures you see on the internet. Jesus is not a white. The Jesus Christ I know is not a white. Now, where do races come from? The Bible speaks about tongues. It speaks about tribes. It speaks about languages. It does not talk about whites or blacks. So when you come from school and people tell you, hey, that's a black community, that's a white community, that's devilish. It's you creating those things. Your own racism. You're racist yourself. Real whites are not racist. Any white man you see who's racist is uneducated. Real whites are not racist. In fact, I've not actually met a racist white. The reason why you feel they're racist is because you put it so. So anything they do makes you feel like they're being racist. Of course they are, but I've like I said to you, if there's a racist, any white is racist, it must be someone who's uneducated, because any educated person knows that a black person is similar to a white person. That is why there can be a transplant from a black person to a white person, and it's going to work. That is why you're able to get married to a white and still produce kids, because everything is the same. Now let's go back to Genesis to see where the races came from. Genesis chapter 6 speaks about the angels of God came and saw the daughters of men and slept with them. Okay, blah, blah, and God was angry and destroyed the whole world. We know that, right? So just Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and his 3 daughters-in-law were alive. So that's 8 people in together. The Bible says that when Noah came out of the ark, right, he got drunk and slept, and his son Shem, Japheth, and Ham came out with him from the ark. And God said, multiply. Now, when they came out, Ham goes to his father and sees him drunk and sleeping naked. Now, he goes out and tells his brothers that dad is naked and starts to laugh. And his father gets up and gets angry and curses him. He curses Ham. Now, Ham had 4 sons. I'm not going to go into the names. But I want to pick on some few. He had Canaan. He had, was it Cush? Cush is where the blacks come. In fact, Ham is the father of blacks. That is where blacks come from. They went down, you know, because the ark which Noah built was settled around Turkey, that area. So Japheth comes out. Let's go to Genesis 11. Kylie, get to work. Genesis 11. Just a second. No, Genesis 11 will be we'll be talking about Tower. No, that's what I'm looking for. Let's go to Genesis 10. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Start from verse 1. And Bess, get to work. Okay.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah.
Okay.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Okay, go ahead.
And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer.
Stop. The sons of Japheth. Japheth was the firstborn of Noah. Now Japheth, after he left the ark, went upward. That's north. This is the father of the Europeans, the whites. Gomer, that's what you have called Germany today. Gomer, that's Germany today. You have Magog, you have Madai, you have Javan, you have Tubal, you have Meshech. Meshech is Russia. You have Tyrus. Now, they migrated northward. That's where you have the whites from. But now I know your problem is the color. It is very possible for 2 black parents to give birth to a child who looks white.
Yeah.
I'm looking at one of them right now. It's very possible for your parents to be dark and then you give birth to complete white. In fact, Bess, pull up. You see that?
He came with receipts.
Okay, now this is a black. Okay, let's leave the parents aside. But this is what you call a white, right? This is what you call a black. Now, but from the same parents, right? How is that possible? That's genes. Now, the climate in the European region did not help matters because of a lack of sunlight. The sunlight helps to provoke and produce melanin. Your body produces melanin, which is what gives you, you're correct. I know, I'm not arguing that. It produces melanin. That's what gives you the dark color. Now, for those who went up to Europe, that's the skin adapted over the time. That's where you have the white color. Now you have who? Go to the next. Continue from Genesis 10. Let's go to the next.
And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish.
I just skip the next verse. Just skip.
But these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone
Next
after
verse.
his tongue. And the sons of Ham,
Okay, yeah.
Cush,
And
and Mizraim,
Mizraim,
and Phut,
and Food.
and
Okay,
Canaan.
stop. Okay, now this is the guy, the second born, whom Noah cursed. The reason why people have always felt blacks are kind of slaves, all right? Remember I told you Ham is the father of blacks because this is where the black man comes from, Kush. This is where Ethiopia, in fact, this is now Ethiopia, Egypt and all of that. This is the guy who produced that. And where is that found? Africa, right? Are you listening? Yes. Now, the Bible says that when Noah cursed Canaan, what did he say to him? Let's go back to Genesis 9. Is it 9? Verse 21. Okay, thank you. Okay, now listen to this, watch it, look at the screen. What does Noah say to Ham or to Canaan? Cursed be Canaan first. So he's cursing the descendants of Noah. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. I don't want to say anything. I want you. Are you getting something here? Hello? Is it making sense now?
Yes.
Hello? Are you in church?
Yes.
Are you getting your own revelations right now? That's where the issue comes from. Blacks were directly under a curse. However, it was not Cush that was cursed. It was Canaan. Not Cush, from where we blacks come from. Anyway, the next son of Noah, go there. Shem. Okay, Shem is, just to fast forward, Shem is where the Asians, the Jews, and all those come from. Now, a white cannot and should not discriminate against a black because we are all brethren. Is that making sense now? We are all cousins, if I can put it that way. A black should not discriminate against a white because we are all brothers. So this concept of a white is bigger than you is faulty. In fact, let me show you something. You see, in Genesis chapter, I'll show you something. Genesis chapter 24, verse 16. Let's see, because, some of you will be wondering, but how did the color come about? You see that Abraham got married to Sarah, but Sarah had a complexion. She was actually very fair, even though they were not. Look at this. And the damsel was very fair to look upon. She had a natural fair skin tone. It didn't say white or black. Fair. That's what the Bible refers to. So, even Rachel was very fair. Sarah was very fair. So they had a natural fair complexion. So I want you to remove this concept from your mind that blacks are kind of slaves to whites. When you come in contact with different races of people, treat them like your colleagues, people you relate with. You're from the same. Don't have this inferiority complex. You get to a job, you want to apply for an interview, you're feeling, oh no, it's a white man, she's going to be strict. It's a lie. It's not true. It doesn't exist. Whites actually do not think anything in their mind. It is the one you present when you. Let's say you're walking down the streets as a guy, and the police car is parked somewhere, and you start doing this. You become suspicious. But when you're relaxed, because they don't really know how blacks behave. It is a reputation you've created over the years that will make them start building a profile. Why is it that two people can be walking past by and the police stops just to you, the black guy? Because look at the way you're dressed, you're putting your jeans down. Of course you look suspicious. Your hairstyle looks like arrow. Like, how can you stop you? I have never suffered racism in my life, never. And I've worked with lots of whites. I've never even noticed that there's something called racism. Why is it always you? You go to school, you're the loudest in class. In terms of fights, you're always in fights. Why would they not pick you out? You say they're racist. You go to school, you won't learn. You come out, you don't graduate, you don't get a job. You say they're racist. You go, you're speaking, you're dressed for an interview, you don't realize you need to dress professionally. You dress with your hard back jean, you put your cap, you turn it behind, it's like, who's going to employ you? Nobody's going to employ you. Your English is terrible. You got it in it. That's not English. Isn't it? That's the right English, not in it. You walk into the interview room and hey yo. Come on, who is going to employ you? There are blacks that are making an impact, and it's because they understood the concept. For example, when Kanye West walks on the street, whites take photographs of him. In fact, he's had issues with cameramen than actually whatever it is. You can say anything to them. He's a black, but no one complains he's being racist. Who's going to say something? Beyonce, she has white fans who are whites. Michael Jackson was a black, but he had fans. In fact, God is always trying to put the black man up. He's also bringing ourselves down low. It's true. There's never been another Michael Jackson. I'm not a fan of his, but I'm just giving an example. There's never been another him. But he was a black. And some people began to say, oh yeah, he changed his color. Well, we're not going to go into that. Actually, he had a medical condition. He had a medical condition which starts to affect his skin color and things like that. And you don't know. You just felt the white bottom over. That's it. Buy wrong theologies. Say the white bottom over. Amen. So number 2, stop being a beggar. It's a curse to keep begging. You're boring. You're begging money from people. It's not good. A beggar can make begging sound sweet. And that is why when you're young, you need to start thinking about your future. That I will not borrow. It's a covenant I made. I will never beg someone. Never. Or borrow. I go and meet someone, just imagine me going back home to Africa and I'm telling my dad, maybe I wake in the morning and my dad gives money to my mom to go and buy food. That's an insult. As a man, you should wake up, hey dad, no, don't worry about it, take this. You wake up, you meet your mom, hey mom, take this, go to the market and buy food. That is how you get blessings. Your mom comes to you, you come back and say, oh, can you borrow me some money? It's a bad attitude, very bad. Especially loan. In fact, make it a covenant not to take loan from the bank. Don't do it. It's better to work hard and have money you need than to go around boasting but hungry. Especially, I'm targeting the blacks today because it's mostly you that have this problem. I'm being frank with you. You bless a black man with, he wins the lottery, the first thing he thinks about is to buy cars. He thinks a car is an asset. It's an investment rather. Any sensible person does not buy a car first. Any sensible person thinks about buying a house first. Any sensible person thinks about having started. I was talking to where is she? She's not even here. She walked into me last week and said, Uncle, I'm thinking about buying a house. Before anything, I give her a handshake. Those are the kind of people I love to talk with. Don't tell me I put a deposit to buy a car. What's a car? To maintain a car is capable of maintaining a human being, the cost of it. Trust me. To maintain a car is the cost of me. In fact, when the first car my mom gave to me was because she said, Elvis, I'm tired, just carry on and go away. Because it always has an issue. MOT, tax, petrol, this, that, always comes up. The more you drive, and it's not even something that you drive it 1, 2, the price reduces. Over the years, it drops out. There's nothing, no new cars are being produced. Forget about the Tesla things. They don't produce any new thing. They just try to, oh yeah, more comfort. You can never have heaven on earth. It'll always have limitations. Whether it's an iPhone 20 or it's an iPhone 30, it's always going to have a limitation. Trust me. As soon as a new iPhone comes in, you dump the old one, it grows you. You don't know the secrets, we know them. They are sucking the money off you. The real cost of an iPhone is not worth thousands of pounds. It might actually just be £50. Trust me. What you're carrying, this iPad or whatever it is, the cost of if they produce in a Christian-like manner, right? The cost of this iPad will be worth maybe like £60-70, but they suck off the price of 12 iPhones from one iPhone to sell to you, and you don't know it. They tell, oh no, you know, now we produce it, it's got a Snapchat Dragon, they put high specs like 6 GB RAMs, and you're hearing it, the camera is 24 megapixels, they're piling pixels. What are you going to do with 64 megapixels, brothers and sisters? Wow. It's never going to make it more beautiful. In fact, the pixels are so finished that right now they're just putting artificial beauty. In reality, you don't need those things. A real good picture, 8 megapixels is enough. If you're not handsome, it's not going to change anything. Whether you put 20 or 50 megapixels, it's not going to improve on your beauty. That's the truth. What do? They give you a new phone with 60 gigabytes of RAM. Now the app takes up 4 gigabytes. Later on, updates, adds up another 100 gigabytes. Before you realize the 6 gigabyte that they claim to be so big has gotten full. The next minute, they produce another phone again and say, now 10 gigabytes, massive. Now they produce apps. You don't know these things. That's why I rarely update my apps. They will tell you, oh yeah, it's for to improve performance. In reality, it doesn't. Except if it comes to new features, you don't need to be updating all the time. I'm telling you. Let's say for security updates. Well, if the hacker wants to hack, it's going to hack it, whether you update or not. You don't know these things. They're telling you. Somebody said, my phone is getting slow. It's because of the apps. They're doing it on purpose. And you will never know because you don't have a way to access these things. You don't know it. The app is sucking out of you. Keep producing and increasing their profit while you are getting poorer. You're still paying off debts you borrowed last year, 20 years ago. And you want to make it in life. You better start changing the way you think. Blacks, I'm talking to you. I'm not being racist, I'm a black. Number 3, mind your language. A loose talker will never amount to anything in life. You can take years to build your life and take minutes to destroy it. Your mouth. Those you work with, those you come in contact with, how do you speak to them? How do you relate to people? Many of you, as soon as you're angry, you spill out the worst poison that has ever been created. You insult people, you quarrel, you're so quarrelsome. In fact, some of you, the best miracle that you just need is just to sit quiet for hours. Don't talk, just be dumb. You talk so badly to people, you talk down on people, you feel because you're more privileged than them, you talk to them anyhow, you just swear carelessly, you don't sit down to think about your words. Mind your language. You're working maybe in McDonald's or working maybe in Sainsbury's or working wherever it is, and you see an elderly person working with you. Yeah, he might have a bad behavior, yeah, he might be acting stupid, but mind the fact that he's older or she's older than you. Be very careful. And just because you work in the same place does not give you the right to talk to them anyhow. You need to be very careful. Even your parents, I keep saying this every time, be very careful how you talk to them. You know why? Because your parents have a certain percentage of power over you. As long as you live under their roof, they have every right to tell you what time you come back home. You're not paying the rent. You cannot tell your mom not to ask you where you're coming from. She has every right to look at you and tell you. I told you before, I said you need 3 people in your life to succeed. Number 1, somebody who tells you the way to go. Number 2, someone who can offend you, because through that you'll be able to progress further. People that keep offending you help you to identify your weaknesses. And number 3, which is the most important, someone who can look at you in your eyes and tell you you're wrong. And you don't ask questions, you don't argue, you don't shout, you keep quiet and listen. You need those 3 people in your life to succeed. You make everyone scared of you, they can't correct you. As soon as someone tells you, look at your room, how did you flare up? Look at your plate, you flare up. No one can really talk to you. You can never lead unless you've been led before. I know what God does. He watches how you respond to children, and He adapts how your children will be to you. All these things the parents say, like, why are you doing like this? Why are you doing like those are things their parents say to them in manifest. When you're naturally cultured in good manners, good behavior, God programs your children to behave in orderly manners. He programs it. He's very good at that. I don't remember a day I wake up and tell, why do you do? I don't do that. The child automatically does things the right way. In fact, he's so submissive. Nobody eats in the house unless I've sat down to eat. Like this is on the right. I can stay in church till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. They will not touch your plates. Everything is ready on the dining table. No one touches it. If you were here, you'll confirm. They will not. As soon as I step into the house, that's when you see the gas going on. Putting the food ready. I did not put that principle. That's the culture. Because of honor, the respect. When he comes picking back from school, I sit down, I'm eating with him. I go up to maybe to the room or something like that. The next thing is, before he goes to have a rest, he'll come and say, thank you for the food. I didn't say that. I didn't prepare the food for him. Just a culture. If I'm out in the garden and maybe I'm mowing the lawn, he comes and joins and does it. I did not tell him to do that. That is how your children have to be. They automatically are programmed that way. Not that you have kids that there are some kids that when they enter your house, they're all over the chair. They're jumping here, going there. You keep on preaching. Stop doing this. Stop. Thou shalt not play on the chair. You have all these 10 commandments given to them. When a man's ways pleases the Lord, God makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. I'm telling you a secret. When I was younger, when I go to church, I have honor even for men of God because those are your parents in the Lord. In fact, when a pastor is let's say if a pastor is preaching and comes around me, I stand up as a way of honoring him. I always did that. I always did that. I had this, and I still have that reverence. If you see me, maybe I see a minister of God, I'm just acting normal because he's questionable. But if I see a real man of God, I don't care how old I am, I just go down. That's an honor. Because if you don't honor others, God will never honor you. You need to learn how to stand respecting people. Greeting people, greeting your mothers, greeting your aunts in the morning. You see them, you greet and say welcome. It doesn't take anything. Because when you do that, your parents are pleased. What happens? The blessings released to you without you knowing it. When you feel no one can talk to you, no one can correct you, you will never go far in life. Never. Trust me. You will never go far in life. You need someone who, I love people who are strict on me. I love people who are strict. You know the kind of people who love to be around, people who always tell you everything you're doing is okay. No, it's good, you're so nice. You don't have anyone who can tell you what time are you coming back from. I'm not saying you should be around people who are super strict, but you need someone who can, in fact, every company has regulators. Every company, whether in accounting, you have the ACCA that regulate, in law, you have the SRA. Every good community must have regulators. Even to build, you need the council to give plan permission. You just can't live your life unregulated. Somebody needs to put you in order. You need someone to put you in order. You need a mentor. You need someone who can call it to order. And you don't argue. The person is like your reflection. He tells you or she tells you, don't do this. You're standing on the street and you're talking to guys. The person can tell you, go home. You don't argue, just turn and go home. Because God will test your loyalty and your humility before He promotes you. All these prayer points you pray sometimes, God grant me this. He answers it, but He puts it on a pause, and He will test you to see the quality of your character. He would send even a little child. Your younger sister can correct you. Your younger brother can correct you. But you flare up, you're angry because somebody told you. In fact, take note of the things that make you angry. You will discover a lot of them is because of your self-pride. Because it has hurt your pride. Be very, very careful. Mind your language. The fourth is being God's will and not God's permissive will. For those of you that like to force your will on others, on God rather. God knows exactly why He made you to be what you are. Or why He told you to stop the law. And He doesn't force Himself on you. In fact, let me tell you something about God. God minds His business. If you do something and don't get God involved in it, He minds His business. He will not force Himself on you. You want to be a pilot? No problem. Did you ask Him? You didn't ask Him? He will not force it over you. God, I want to marry that one. I want to marry that one. I want to marry that one. No problem. He will not force Himself on you. And number 5, be an agent of change. Think about the changes you're going to make in the world. And God bless His word. Amen. Any question before we go to our questions?